light is undetectable to radar, infrared, even the human eye.
Saunders is a boxing fanatic. There's only one shot we've got of getting you in there.
Kelly Robinson, are you going to be referring to yourself in the third person the whole time? Because that can be a little irritating.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another misunderstood movie review. Today I focus on the 2002 action comedy I.Spy, a film that is directed by Betty Thomas and it stars Eddie Murphy, Owen Wilson, Famke Janssen and Malcolm McDowell. Now in this series of reviews that I do, misunderstood movie reviews, I focus on films that I think deserve a second look, deserve a second chance, because I don't think they're as bad as they were originally perceived, or they may have failed at the box office, or were certainly failed in regards to critical reviews. Now, I Spy is based on a 1960s TV show in the US of the same name, I believe, and I think it starred Bill Cosby. And I've never seen that. I didn't even know that existed, certainly when I first saw this film. And it's a film that's always had a bit of affection for me. It was of the decade, really. Certainly, by this point in his career, Eddie Murphy, he couldn't buy a hit. It seemed like every film he was churning out was allergic to making money at the box office, regardless of what I or anybody else thought they were like in regards to quality. Now, some of the films he did churn out in this period in his career were, rightfully not particularly liked by many people because they weren't very, very good. I actually think this is one of the exceptions. I think this is one of those that happened in the period of his career, Eddie Murphy, where no matter what it turned out, I think it was going to be a failure because his star was falling and everything he was sending out to the cinemas was not successful at all until he got back with the Shrek movies and things like that. Nothing he was putting out at the cinema was actually making money. But I think this one deserves a little bit of a second look. Now, it focuses on the Owen Wilson character, Alex, who is like a newly promoted spy. He is sent to Prague, I think it is, to search for a missing jet. It's like this stealth jet that's been taken by the Malcolm McDowell character, Gundar. Now, we learn that this Gundar is a huge boxing fan, and the only way they can figure to get the Owen Wilson character close to this Gundar is to recruit the Eddie Murphy character, Kelly Robinson, who is at that point is the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. And he's got a fight in Prague. So they think this is a great cover to get Owen Wilson close to Gundar in order for them to try and figure out where this missing jet is. So he reluctantly teams up with the Kelly Robinson character. They don't get on. That's where you get a lot of the comedy gold from, really, in this film. And they go on the hunt for this missing jet and get into all sorts of misadventures. Right, so I'm not here to tell you that this is one of Eddie Murphy's greatest films of all time, or Owen Wilson's, because it isn't. It's a nice distraction of a film, this. It's actually quite watchable. I think the chemistry between Owen Wilson and Eddie Murphy actually worked. I think Owen Wilson is kind of plays these characters with his eyes closed, really charming, unassuming characters, and it works and clashes with the Kelly Robinson character, the Eddie Murphy character, because the Kelly Robinson character is really arrogant, self-assured, full of one-liners, and the typical spoiled athlete sort of thing. So there's that friction there between them, but also you see this other side, this respect that is slowly brewing between them in regard to the progression of the film. The Famke Janssen character is like an associate of the Owen Wilson character, like another spy, and there's a little bit of sexual tension between them, all this kind of stuff. That's kind of like a side plot. But the whole film, I think, it moves along at a really solid pace. I do think Eddie Murphy is genuinely funny here in this film. And if you actually watch it, if you've never seen this film before, but you're a big fan of like the Shrek films, if you watch this film, you'll see, I think, the birth of an awful lot of the donkey character in this film. I mean, you watch a lot of Eddie Murphy films and you can certainly see, a lot of the things that he's always used in his career, and he put him into like the donkey character. But for me, it stuck out like a sore thumb in a lot of things he was saying and doing in this film. It really did like stand out in regards to a lot of the stuff he does with Donkey. And I do think he's very, very funny here in this film. I know Owen Wilson is obviously playing the straight man opposite Eddie Murphy, and my understanding is that he was really worried about playing opposite Eddie Murphy because Eddie Murphy was and is renowned for art improv. But he really enjoyed it. He enjoyed it. He got used to it, and he enjoyed kind of, you know, feeding off Eddie Murphy. And you could see that chemistry really worked on screen. Now, the action scenes are certainly passable here in regards to like a comedy action film. No one's ever going to say that Betty Thomas is renowned for directing action, because she really isn't. So there's nothing over the top and slick and really massively satisfying about the action here, but it fits and suits the film that you're actually watching, and it makes fun of like all sorts of different spy films, obviously Bond and all this kind of stuff. And there's this other super spy called Carlos, played by Gary Cole, who's obviously like the Bond character. You know, so they're clearly poking fun at like spy movies that have come before. There's lots of that tropes going on here in the film as well, but it manages to like hold your attention. There's some good gags in it. There's some good action. Yes, it's, you know, there's a betrayal you can see coming a mile along, and the plot isn't exactly hard to follow, and it's not complex or anything like that. But sometimes watching a film like this, I don't want it to be, and this for me is a fine example of a lot of cinema that we're seeing today that people are just dismissing as trash without giving them a chance. And this for me is, while it's not a massively solid or outstanding film, it's certainly a watchable film, and I think it deserves a little bit more respect than it got at the time. So that's why I'm giving it a solid 7 out of 10. It doesn't deserve any more than that, but it certainly doesn't deserve some of like the really low scores that I've seen people give this over the years. So if you've never seen I.Spy, it's a nice little treasure to find in the back catalogue of Eddie Murphy and Owen Wilson, and it is definitely worth checking out. So I'm going to revisit a couple of Eddie Murphy films that he's done at this period in his career that I think could deserve a few more eyes on them as well, so keep your eyes out for those. So in the meantime though, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please like this video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and of course I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.